We've kind of talked about this, but I think that they're making a bigger impact in this space today because we said this a year ago. Lots of people did lifestyle shots. Lots of people did bad lifestyle shots.
Lots of people in general do bad photos. So number one, you need a great photographer, please. That's everything. But number two, I think we're leaving the era of just like a random group of people that look like they've never met before and they are all in different random outfits just posing. I think that's fine for certain markets. But if you're really trying to create an elevated experience, you really want to lean into what that feel is and show your target audience what they could be having when you're there. So for example, we did a girls trip house in Scottsdale, and we had girls that would stay and bring their hair tools and pose and do fun shots where they're posing in front of the get ready station. We have a selfie wall, and we showed what it would look like being in front of the selfie wall. So everything that we showed, we tried to show what it would be like for them to actually do karaoke and what that would look like. So kind of showing your guests what the experience could be when they're staying there and also what their photos could be, because I know this might sound shallow. We're living in a social media world. Lean into it and you'll make money.
That was going to be my next thing on this. Not to sound shallow, but I do think that the thing that makes or breaks a lot of the lifestyle shots that I'm seeing are that when we coordinate this at Funkit, we're actually hiring like models or people that professionally do this. And one of the things that I see happen pretty often is I see that people happen to show up to the photo shoot when their photographer is shooting their property with their family, and they're like, oh yeah, like my wife is cute, like let me have her be in these photos, and it's like, and my kids are cute, and it's not that they're not, it's just they don't know how to pose for photos, they look awkward kind of smiling, they just don't do it for a living. And so I see a lot of these lifestyle shots of people that just look really stiff in their Airbnb. And I would rather the shot not exist than you put it in there for the sake of putting it in there to check off the lifestyle photo shot.
Just be more thoughtful with your shots. I will say this is something that's kind of, we've heard about it. Obviously, it's been done before. As more and more people invest in Airbnbs, more and more people are learning different hacks. And I'll tell you, the top properties that we pull on our comp list usually have a lifestyle shot. So kind of jump on that game first and really take a moment, even if it is a couple $100 extra, even $1,000. It is absolutely worth it if you have an experiential stay. And I would even say it's worth it if you have a regular home too. Just make sure you're not pulling random people off the street.
Yeah, I think that's kind of it. It's also just my rule in general. You should not be a part of the creative. There are so many people that I see that are like, oh yeah, I'm a photographer, or I do photography on the side. Let me take my own photos. No matter how good you are at photography, unless you are just the freaking best and everyone knows you as the best, you should always hire another photographer because you need another set of eyes on it. I guess another set of unbiased eyes on it, because you will not be able to critique your work as good as a professional that does it for a living, in my opinion. Let's hop into trend number 3. This to me, I think it's something that I'm starting to see us do more, that I'm a big fan of, because I think it's actually thinking outside of the box quite a bit. And that is turning unused square footage into money makers at your short-term rental. What does that mean?
You shouldn't have a square inch of your property that isn't maximized. And by that, I actually don't mean that, because you shouldn't really be putting money in your bathrooms or in your hallways or random spaces like that. But every single space that matters in your home, bedrooms, game room, garage, whatever, they should always be maximized. We also like to push boundaries and use our client's front yard sometimes, if possible. To show you an example of that, we had a client whose amazing backyard, but it was pretty small, and it's a luxury property right near Austin, like in South Congress of Austin. So they had this big front yard. Their neighbors didn't care. It was like pretty easy to convert the front yard with just updating the fence. And then we added amenities. So on the other side, we have bowling, fire pit, mini golf, mural, and in the garage right there, we have a speakeasy. So utilizing every single spot that you can. Another example is in one of our properties, we had these huge closets that felt so random. No one cares about closets unless you have like more of a luxury romantic stay or long term. But if it's short term and it's a group experience, why don't you just turn one of your rooms into a poker room, or turn one of your rooms into games? If you don't
This is so genius, because I actually walked this property and I was like, what is this random room? Like, why was there just an empty room where you could put these arcade tables or this poker room? And you're like, Rob, that's the closet. I was like, oh, wow. Like, yeah. I never had considered that it could possibly have been a closet in its previous life.
Right. And we've done that a couple times. And I think people are always like, well, there's no window. Then make it a poker room. Like lean into the dark feeling. And luckily we did have a window here, which is random. But regardless, it doesn't matter. All you're doing is for the shot. People don't need to know, or they don't care that it's a closet. It's just a fun addition.
Yeah. I'll give you 2 other examples that we really crushed it on this. So example 1 was at the Pink Pickle. I wanted to reinvest into my own property, and I had this garage. And what most people think is, oh yeah, like guests want to park in the garage. That's not untrue, but no one has ever booked your Airbnb because it has a garage. So Bridgette was like, hey, why don't we turn it into a karaoke lounge? And it was such a big space, it's 400 square feet, that we also decided to put a couple beds in there, optional if someone wants to sleep in there, kind of a dual purpose type of thing. But we basically spent about $20,000 to convert an old creaky garage into actual air-conditioned square footage. Not only did this increase the ARV, the after repair value of my property, by far more than the $20,000 that I invested in it, but my ADR, my average daily rate, now is significantly higher, and I charge $1,500 a night in the peak season.
And guys, his property is like pretty far away from Austin, and it's killing it.
Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
it's in Austin, but it's kind of far up north. Utilize your garage every time. I tell this to clients all the time. They're always worried about parking and what's going to happen and weather and all that. It's never worth it. People can figure it out. You have it in the listing that there's no interior, like parking in the garage. Utilize your garage every single time, but please keep in mind you need to add a mini split or some type of temperature regulation, or your guests are going to die in there.
And you don't even need to take out the garage door. I did because I wanted the square footage to count towards the value of my house. But we're doing a lot of these conversions. It makes it way cheaper to do this. We just paint the garage door black or whatever the color palette is, and we design the entire room to be kind of like arcade, speakeasy, game room, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Second example I wanted to talk about here, going back to the front yard thing, we had a client here in Houston, Texas, where they didn't really have a backyard at all. We spent $2,000 or $3,000 to enclose their front yard. And they were on a corner lot, so they just had a big, spacious front yard and shouldn't really be too detrimental to the neighbors around it. No more than a backyard would be. And now with that fence, that $2,000 or $3,000 investment, it turned into a full-blown amenity experience with mini golf and a fire pit and an outdoor dining table. And I think it was a really genius way to basically make lemonade out of lemons. Hey, by the way, if you liked this conversation, I've got good news for you. There's way more where that came from. If you want to watch the whole thing, click right here.